Days of culture. I thought I put on some new pair of glasses today and actually put on my nice shirt. Get on a plane going to HR Tech. I'll be out there in Vegas all week. So if you're out there, let me know. But I'm super excited to have my buddy Troy Hoffman with me today. You'll find out here pretty quickly that we know each other pretty well. But I wanted to give him the first opportunity to introduce himself. Troy, who are you? What the heck's going on? How are you, buddy? Go for it.
I'm doing great. Thanks, Chris. And thanks for having me on today. First off, for those who don't know me, my name is Troy Hoffman. I'm the founder of a company called Simplaris, which is one of the fastest growing companies in the legal tech space and the legal tech administration space. We also have a few other companies we've started that are kind of going through the stages. I've been building companies for like over 30 years. And I met Chris because a good friend of ours, we had a mutual friend that put us together, and we actually jumped right into an interview, and that's actually how we met. He came by the house with his son, and we jumped right in the interview because of my friend said, "Oh, you got to meet this guy, Chris. He's famous. I think I can get him to come down. He's got this book, and all these people know him. You've got to meet him." I was like, "Okay, great. Let's meet Chris." And actually, our first conversation is live and recorded together on the worst weather day. It was freezing cold outside, like the worst day possible to shoot. It was cloudy, like all the problems you possibly could imagine. We had all the video crews and a full film day. And then Chris just went into it. And I got to see the genius of Chris in that moment. I got to see his ability to basically capture large amounts of information, break it down and deliver it in little tiny bites that you can digest in a way that'll transform your life and business forever. And that's what I loved about Chris. He's this giant wealth of information. He's aggregated inside of him and he constantly delivers it. And every time we have conversations, there's always these deep, almost thoughtful conversations in some way when you get a chance to be around Chris. And that's why I love it. So Chris, thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, and I didn't mean for this to be the Chris commercial, but I'll take it. You know, it's good for a Tuesday morning. I'll feel good. Thanks, buddy.
I'm on my second cup of coffee. I'm gonna roll, Chris. I'm fired up this morning. Let's do this. Woo.
I love it. I love it. So like you said, we kind of met, and it's interesting. We started talking about immediately company culture. I mean, that was the first thing that we were talking about was company culture, and which is awesome. And I think it's interesting that a lot's happened since then. Full circle. Let's see. Yes. Let's just count the things that have happened just a few years ago when we met.
It was forced into a freezing cold water by Chris. That's one thing. It was forced on a freezing cold mountain, number two. And it just gets worse from there.
Yeah, I mean, let's recount all of the great things that have happened since then, right? We went and climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. That was pretty awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, you did. We got you. You know, I think I have to take credit here. I got you into the cold plunge for what, 5 minutes? And Wim Hof could not. Yes. I got you in, and the Wim Hof could not. I want that on my gravestone. I want that on my gravestone.
Yeah, I did not do so well the Wim Hof program. I think I matured after being on a cold mountain. I was suffering for a week with you on a cold mountain. I think I'm like ready for more cold weather. So
yeah. Well,
so dive in, Chris. Dive in today. What do you want to share today? And dive into about company culture, because this is one of the things that everyone either identifies. I don't care what name you put to it. Some people hate the word culture now because it's been so overused. It's so overplayed. So many people have taken it and just used the word too much when no matter which company it is, where you're at, you've got a culture, you've got some type of environment, some type of edge, some type of thing. And I've seen it all. Like there's company cultures of just people that just show up and grind, and they're very quiet and calm and focused and building this amazing technology. Then there's company cultures that are, we're going to work out every day and we're going to say F-bombs every other word. And we're going to say, you've got to sell more and sell harder and sell everybody on selling everything. And let's build a sales team like this guy, Andy Elliott. I mean, there is extremes of company culture. And it doesn't matter what company culture is, it's what company culture do you want? What do you want to build? Why do you want to build it? Because company culture always comes down to you as a leader. And I wish somebody would have taught me this, so it would have been more conscious and more cognitive as I was growing and scaling these businesses around company culture, around recruiting, around hiring, around it all, because man, you can teach skills, but you can't teach culture. And culture just dominates always because it's energy. You can't replace energy. There's something that you can't fake it. You can't make it up randomly. No matter how much coffee we have, we just can't fake energy. We can't fake that energy that comes from a right culture, the right people at the right time in the right place to build the right company toward the right vision. So go for it, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about a lot of great things there. And I thought really today our focus could be a bit more on the entrepreneurial version or the entrepreneurial, I guess, perspective of culture, because we talk a lot about culture of these very established companies. We can use them as guides or blueprints of where we want to be one day. But you're exactly right. Culture can be this, hey, we're going to grind it, we're going to sell. It could also be, we're going to kumbaya and we're going to save the world and we're going to, help the society. I mean, it can be so different, right? The feeling you get in there can be intense. It can be loving. It can be whatever. But that's up to the person who starts that organization to really start to build that, create that, set the tone of what we're going to be. What do people like us do? Right? That's a super important question to ask because that becomes your culture. But one of the things that you and I know very well, that as you start a company, right, or maybe you and I work with a lot of entrepreneurs or people starting companies, and they wear a lot of hats, and then they finally break the bank and they make that next hire and they get to take off maybe one of those hats, but really they end up giving that new person 5 or 6 hats to wear, right? When you're a small company, you're going, and I believe that it is culture that saves your butt when you bring in new people and they have to start making all of these decisions without you, right? We can't be everywhere. We can't do everything. And we have to trust in these new people that we bring on board to go make great decisions for or do the best they can. How the heck do they do that if they don't understand the culture, if they don't understand what we stand for, what we mean, what we want? And that, I think, is the entrepreneur or the CEO or the business owner's job, day one, and every day they walk in that building, is to make sure everyone knows what we're trying to do, how we're going to do it, where we're going to do it, so that their people can go make great decisions without having to come back to that person 5,000 times a day, right? And I don't know if that's what you've seen. Great cultures I've seen it catapult companies from an idea to, going public, right? Or an idea to getting sold and the owner makes a ton of money, right? So I'll shoot it back to you.
Well, I'm just trying to think, like, I've done this on and off for probably about 30 years now, like legitimately trying to build companies, trying to recruit people, hire people, have people come work for me. The crazy thing is I've just gone back to zero. And then every time we start up a new little company, we get a little bit of groups of people going and they kind of take off. And then I go back to zero of no staff again, no team, right? So every time I'm building, until I figure out how to build a company that builds companies and retain a team in this company and have enough revenue to pay for it, I'm constantly going back to zero over and over and over again. And I've got my ass handed to me in a lot of ways. Right? Because the problem is sometimes we come from some environment where we've had everything. You've already gone through it once and you forget about what it takes to go through it again. So in that 0 to 5 person leap, which is a lot of people, there is millions of people stuck in that leap. This is where, like Chris said, man, you've got to share the vision. You've got to be patient. You've got to be calm. You can't expect them to be you, and you can't expect them to be super high level if you're only paying them so much money. Like if you're not recruiting a super high level person, if you're not recruiting someone that's getting paid 90, 120, 180, $240,000 a year, you can't expect them to operate at a super, super high level. They're learning. If you're paying $3,000 a month, they're in the learning game. Your job is to teach them. Your job is to grow them. And every time I screw this up, and I screwed this up recently massively. So we're never not screwing things up. So number one, give yourself forgiveness for anything you've done in the past, anything you've done wrong. Hey, it happens to all of us. We're constantly failing. But the only time we actually truly fail is when we actually give up. And the process is not about giving up, it's about growth. And our process is about us growing as humans, and then awaken and remember the lessons we've learned and reapply those lessons. So if you're stuck right now in the 0 to 5 space, and just remember, and you as a leader, forgive yourself. Number 2, cast the vision. Cast the vision. Take that net and just throw it out there and say, man, this is where I'm going. This is why I'm going there. This is what we're building. This is how we're going to build it. This is why it's so important that we do this and we go after this vision, because these are the lives we're going to change. And start listing it out. People catch a hold of a vision. That ignites the fire inside of people, all of us. All of us want to be part of something bigger. All of us in humanity want to be a part of a group of people doing something impactful. And literally anything can be impactful if it's shared in the right way and with the right words and the right passion and the truth behind it, serving the right group of people, because we all love serving others. It is ingrained in the human psyche, ingrained in the human person to help and serve others and give at a super high level. I would say those 2 things to start with: forgiveness of yourself for anything you failed in, and don't give up trying. And number 2, cast that vision out to these people. So Chris, I'll hand it back to you real quick.
Yeah, you bring up a great point, and I don't always like to use sports as an example because not everyone's into sports. But I think we all understand, if you're playing in a game, whatever that game is, pick your sport, but you're playing with a team, right? And you miss the shot, or you don't make the goal, or whatever that thing is, right? You don't catch the pass. In that setting, you just go back and you try again, right? You try to come up with another way to achieve the thing you're trying to do. Nope, unless you drop the ball every single time, we generally don't get upset with ourselves in that high pressure game situation. We go, okay, I missed this one. Let's go back, figure out how to make it better, try it a different way to try to go and win the game. But in business, I see people all the time that go out and they miss the shot or don't catch the pass one time, and then they're like demoralized, right? Or they think they're an idiot, or they get so upset. And I know they're the people that are working for them or whatever. And you bring up such a powerful reminder that this is about making a whole bunch of mistakes. No matter how good you are, no matter how many times you start a company and built it, it's about making a whole bunch of mistakes to try to get to the end and win, whatever that definition of win is, or achieve that goal. And you're right. The best entrepreneurs, the ones that seem to be able to, do this again and again, they can forgive themselves. They do understand this is a long game situation, right? And it's not about this short term. Because I've been in cultures where that CEO or that leader, they are so focused on the win today or in this hour. And if we don't do it, everyone has failed. That it's toxic energy. Nobody wants to come to work, right? It's not about, well, okay, how could you do it better next time? Because we're trying to be the best company ever, right?
And I mean, I don't know, but I think some of the best leaders are those who still wake up today and go, man, I just want to apologize to literally everyone that's ever worked with me. I'm sorry. I have failed you in so many ways. I failed to give you more raises. I failed to lead you better. I failed to support you better. I failed to teach you better. I failed, probably creating a toxic culture at times. I failed, making the wrong decision so many times. We've done layoffs when we shouldn't have done layoffs twice, probably because we just thought the finances were going down when we should have just been able to project better. And it created a horrible culture of like doom and gloom. And I have failed so many people, and yet I still rise and do it again. Why? Because as I look around, and like Chris said, the more we get to go in other companies, the more I've spent the last decade working with, probably a decade and a half now, working one-on-one with entrepreneurs all over the globe. I look at them and I look at me and I go, okay, maybe I'm not doing so bad, because it is hard. It is difficult. There is no perfect human. If there was, and that was Jesus, maybe he's dead already or something. I don't know, or the Buddha. But whatever it is, I'm not that person. Like, I'm going to fail. And that's why I say forgiveness is number one. I don't know why I'm talking about this so much, because it gives us permission to actually go and do it. And after we cast the vision, then we actually start stacking the practicality. So now you're in that 5 to 25 range. 5 to 25 employees at the different game. This is where you can be personal. Your monthly meetings, your daily huddles, your weekly meetings can be fun. They can be on point. They can be good notices. You can do intimate things. And then as you jump to 50, you can really keep that intimacy in this group. You can have people share stories. Like we used to have people throughout the company write our core values on these little cards and hand them out to people, or email the core values, and we print them out and stack them up every single month, and we'd read them out loud. And then we draw one of them out of it, and they would be a winner. And the person who wrote it might win that time, or the person that got it might win something that time. And you can start making it fun and practicality and start systematizing the culture, systematizing the environment, systematizing the expectations. What are the metrics? What are the goals? All of this is part of company culture, because people need to know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. You as the leader, your job is to create that environment that helps people know, okay, where are we going? When do I do it? What do I do? How do I do it? And do this over and over again. And then how do I score myself? Like Chris said, man, we're not talking about sports, but scoring still works in business. What is the score? How do I even know if I'm doing good, even in culture? What does that mean? Because people smile, because people are happy. Well, I mean, I could run a summer camp at my company, and everyone's smiling, everyone's getting sunbathing outside, laying by the pool and drinking margaritas. People probably be happy, but is that getting somewhere? And we have to be able to tie all these different things together and say, okay, guys, let's decide this as a group of people. This is the vision. This is where you're going. Are you in or are you out? And there's no in between. And you start leading at that level. You're saying, we're going this direction. Are you in? Are you out? I'm okay for feedback. I'm open to change things. I'm open to course correct, but we're still going after this target. And then everything you do in your company culture basically grows around that vision to support it so we achieve it. And hopefully it's a good vision with good morals and good values and good reasons of like, man, how are we going to impact other people's lives? Hey, we're in a boring industry. Legal tech, doing legal administration work, processing claims, answering phone calls, writing checks, sending checks out, scrubbing data all day. It's not the sexiest industry in the world, but still, we're impacting lives. We have all this money that we have to get to all these people, and we get to play Robin Hood. So that was a frame that I took in my head that I was like, oh, we're doing something good. We're impacting lives. Look at these checks we're getting. Imagine you getting a $2,000 to $5,000 check. How much would that impact your life? And then we start sharing these stories. There's just different ways. Then after we moved past that, we just started sharing success stories within the group and bringing in guest speakers and other people on the personal development side. We would read books on a monthly or bi-monthly basis, different books like Eat That Frog. So those are some of the things we've done as we've grown through these stages. Now at 100 people, the game changes. It's a whole different environment, a whole different culture, and it has to be run at a much corporate level where you're going more metrics, more specifics, more details about the operation, more goals, more actual execution type leadership than kind of like the more feel-good kumbaya stuff that you do when you're a smaller company. So that's what I've learned, Chris, and going through those stages. I'm going to pass it back to you, sir.
Yeah. So there was something you almost got to early on that I wanted to make sure we get this point out there. And that is, as leaders, we are creating this culture, we're moving it forward, but I think there's always this pressure for everyone to be happy, as you sort of mentioned, right? You could create this Club Med environment and everyone could be happy. They're not getting any work done. We're going to be bankrupt in a week, but that's not what we're trying to create. It's not about creating short-term happiness. It's about creating a long-term, happiness for people. And so this is where I think, and why I believe so much in company culture. I think it's the only way for employees to have what they want. They want to be valued. They want a job. They want security. They want, whatever, some bit of happiness. It's all different for them, but they can get what they want from the company. And the company wants performance and productivity and profits. And the only way for those two things to happen at the same time, and for both groups through all the push and pull to get what they want, is for there to be a great company culture. Now, along the way, and this is I think the point we didn't get to yet, there are people who are going to get off the bus. As you are growing that company, they were the right person last year. They were the perfect person last year. And now suddenly the organization has changed, hopefully in a really positive way. It's grown or done whatever. Maybe you haven't grown. Maybe you didn't succeed and you have to scale back and rebuild again. But whatever that thing is, the company evolves. And we have to be okay with this as leaders, that there are people who are going to get off the bus and new people are going to get on the bus. And that was, for me, a really hard lesson, because I was always thinking about culture as a family. Like, once you're in the family, you're always in the family, right? Once you're my first cousin, you're always my first cousin. And that's not necessarily true. We can still love those people and we can be happy that they went to somewhere else and are successful, and we can still care about them. But organizations change over time. And it's important that we change, the culture evolves, right? Things move and change, or we die, right? Or probably even worse, we just stagnate, right? You're just sitting at that income level. Nothing ever changes. It's Groundhog Day every day at work, right?
The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead.
It's literally, someone told me that about a company name. That's crazy. Keep going.
Yeah, but I mean, you know what I mean? I think that's what's important, right? We think about this as an evolution, and we have to be okay with people go and people come, right? And things change, and it's about staying true to that goal. It's about creating that great environment for our people, the right people that we want here, in this organization. And that could be, you mentioned like a high stress, high sales environment. I mean, not only do C players not survive, B players aren't going to survive in that environment.
No.
Right?
So I think I'm going to do an experience share, if that's okay. Like truth, right? This was hard for me, Chris. I failed so many people by having the belief that once in the family, always in the family. And I think, Chris, you probably should expound upon this concept, and more people need to learn this, because there is a time when you're on that little league baseball team and you fit in great. But sooner or later, some people go into the major leagues. Some people don't grow or just don't even want to play ball anymore, literally. And they need to kind of go. And there's just skills. And as the whole team grows and goes from little league to like elementary, junior high, high school, college baseball, not everyone's going to grow at the same level and the same skill set, just using him in that example. And I kind of thought, oh, we can grow anybody. I can do anything. And it screwed up so many people because they wanted to be there. They wanted to help, but you've got to let them be free sometimes. And this is the hard part, because there's people around you that, there's certain people I love that hate me today, that we're just now reuniting because of my failed leadership. And I feel horrible about the failures I've had in so many ways, because I didn't have mentors like Chris in my life when I was going through this. I didn't get around the right people at the right time. I didn't hire the right coaches. I didn't hire the right mentors. I didn't hire the right consultants. See, until you've actually lived this, you can't teach this. You can read a book, but you've got to live it. And it is called earned wisdom, not read wisdom. And until you've actually learned what earned wisdom is, you'll never understand the distinction between the two. Because there's a lot of people that can regurgitate culture, but until you've lived it, suffered through it, and literally have cried letting somebody go, wept after the door shut, you'll never know. And then have people talk bad about you, that you poured money and time and all these things about you. Then people sue you one day out of nowhere for trying to help them read books. Like, we had one person be so angry at somebody else in the company that we actually got sued one time for reading, literally in a class action against our own company, for trying to give people motivational books. We paid for the books, we paid for the time to read it, we paid for the time to talk about it. And yet someone tried suing us about it. And we're trying to impact their life, trying to help them grow. See, not everyone's going to understand your vision. Not everyone's going to take part of this. Not everyone's going to support everything you do. They're going to be like, oh, they're trying to force this positive motivation stuff down our throat, or this personal development stuff. They're going to work us harder and get more money out of it. And it's just like, oh, God, please wipe the mud off your eyes and see that we're trying to help you grow here or anywhere you can take these skills. And unfortunately, that's going to be the path you're on. You're always going to be on this path with people building obstacles and challenges and things you got to go through and go over and deal with on a regular basis. But you as a point person, everything rises and falls on leadership. Man, if it is to be, it is up to me. The 10 little 2-letter words that'll change your life, that Zig Ziglar always used to say. See, well, that's what I've learned, man. For things to change, I must change. For things to get better, I must get better. Till I give my better to my better is best. And my best is better than the rest. And you fill your head with these quotes and these thoughts and these motivations, this mindset. And then every time you hit these walls and these barriers and someone wants to sue you, or someone's mad at you in your company, or man, you had to let somebody go and you cry by yourself, you say, man, I'm clear. Because I went back to the first thing, I forgive myself when I go after the vision. I'm clear on the vision. I'm clear on why I'm building this. And when we're clear on the vision and clear on where we're going, then nothing's going to stop us. See, I had to step away from my own company because my leadership skill wasn't big enough in a larger company to grow it to the next level. I had to hand over the reins. I had to release the reins to the next generation of leaders that are more talented, better suited, with decades of experience to grow and scale companies that I didn't have at my own company. And I knew that change must come. Change is inevitable. Change is good. Change is okay. We have to tell this stuff to ourselves over and over again if we want to build what we want to build. That vision's inside of you for a reason. You got it. You feel that still small voice has spoken to you. Man, it doesn't matter what the still small voice said. If it said build a marketing firm, trust it. If it said climb a mountain, go do it. Whatever it is, there's a reason you're on this journey right now. There's a reason you're watching this today. Listen to that still small voice inside of you. That vision that's alive in your mind and heart. And don't let anyone stop you from that vision. Give yourself permission today to go after this vision. Give yourself permission to let the people go that are not serving the vision. Give yourself the permission to let yourself go if you need to, if you're not serving the vision, so you can rise to the next level that you are called to next. So I'll hand it back to you, Chris.
I love it, Troy. I think that's, I feel like I'm in church right now. I'll say amen. But yeah, I mean, there was so much there, and how we talk to ourselves, that voice, that way in which we approach the day, just as human beings, not necessarily as leaders, just every day as human beings, is so important. And I remember just a few months ago when you and I were freezing, sore, tired, blisters on our feet, and we, woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Here's a terrible cup of coffee, and we literally lied to ourselves. We literally said it's going to be a great day. We literally put on songs.
Yes.
Songs about it being a great day and a great morning. And it wasn't. But we knew we had to get up and we had to keep moving. We had to take the next step. We had to get our butts out of that warm tent and start moving to get to the goal. And for that, our goal was to go climb that mountain. But for anybody else, whatever that goal is, right? It's about, no matter how hard it is and how crappy you feel, when you start the day, got to get those positive vibes going. You've got to tell yourself the correct things, even if it's not true. Even if you don't believe it, it's going to be a great day. I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to make that sale today. Whatever that thing is, because I don't understand it, but manifesting works. Every time I have gone and tried it, I have had such great success. And it doesn't make sense logically. You're like, listen, I tell myself this stuff and all of a sudden all these things are going to happen. That's the, anyone skeptical like me out there be like, that's stupid. And then you go and do it and it happens. It's called manifesting. Look it up, right?
Yes, it's called manifesting. Look it up. I love it.
In case any of you don't know the famous TikToker, go look that term up. I got the entire group saying it up at Kilimanjaro. That was pretty funny. So, all right, buddy. It's been an awesome 30 minutes. I know you're a very busy man. I'll let you get back to it. Love seeing all the great stuff you're doing on social, seeing the family. And I'm going to make it down there here soon to come visit you.
Yes.
Where it's a little warmer. So
let's go swim around Key West next. 12.7
right.
kilometers.
Let's do it. Key West. And then Troy has already committed to the English Channel. Apparently it takes...
I'm not committed to the English Channel yet.
It's only like a 8 or 12 hour swim or something. It's
no problem.
So, all right, buddy. Okay, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll be in Vegas, but we'll be back tomorrow for our next one of the 31 Days of Culture. So make it a great day, everyone.